everybody. This is Frances Castanedice, President of the Houston East End Chamber of Commerce, and it's an honor to welcome you to our business webinar. Today is December 1st, 2020, and it's an honor to have Juan Rojas here again with us today with Houston Press VDigital Services. Today, he's going to talk about simple steps to master Google Ads and improve your SEO. We're going to learn everything you can about Google Ads. So Juan, thank you so much for being with us again. You're a wealth of knowledge. Hopefully everyone has their pen and paper ready to take good notes, and take it away.
All right, thank you, Francis, and thank you everybody for joining us today. So just to reiterate, if you guys have not met me before, my name is Juan Rojas. I'm with VDigital Services in the Houston Press. And just a little bit of background about myself. I'm a longtime resident of the East End, member of the Chamber, and really love to serve this community, which I love so much. And this is the area that I want to live in for the rest of my life, really. So I'm very happy to be here to help everybody who's a part of the Chamber or connected to the Chamber to see if we maybe would assist in some way and make the neighborhood as great as it can be. But that being said, we talked, this is the third installment. We talked in the previous installments about SEO. This is really going to be about Google Ads. So previously we talked about local SEO, which is your Google My Business coming up in a Google search. We also talked about organic SEO, which is your website coming up organically in a Google search. And those are two parts of what's known as the search engine results page. So the search engine results page is when you do a search on Google, that page that you see, that's the search engine results page. And there are three sections. We've talked about two, local and organic. And today we're going to talk about Google Ads. That's the third section. Now, the thing about Google Ads is that they're at the top of the page, right? That's the first thing that Google wants you to see, because that's the way Google makes money. If you click on those ads, Google gets paid. Okay, so we're going to talk about the understanding and the intent of somebody who is on Google or using Google products, and how you can use that information in your favor as you're building your campaigns. Taking a look at the Google Ads funnel, where everything fits within the purchasing funnel, the customer journey, low, medium, and high intent tactics, where somebody is within that funnel, the customer journey, how you're going to hit them, some ideas on how you can put together a paid campaign to have the best success, and then taking a look at your landing page, because obviously if you do a campaign, you're driving a lot of traffic to your website, but your landing page is not set up properly, it's not going to work. So we have some information on here on how you can put that together. All right, so starting with understanding intent. So first thing, intent. What is intent, right? So it's the user's objective in the moment they're seeing an ad. So when they see your ad, what are they trying to do? And it's very different, because you can reach people in different parts of the process of purchasing something. If you think about how you buy something, at the moment when you are making the action where you're going to a website and you're clicking buy now is a very different moment than when you may not even have considered that this was a product or service that you needed. Those are different moments, and you're going to need to be hit differently in those moments, right? So from no intent to high intent, paid media through Google can help clients, can help you guys grow your business. And the user's level of intent can grow with multiple marketing touches over time. What this means is if they keep on seeing your message when they're not in the phase where they're ready to buy, it's much more likely they're going to buy with you when they are in that phase. So as an example, a few years ago, my boss was coming out of his house to go to work in the morning, and he went out to his car and his windshield had been broken in. And when you think about that, in that moment, he was ready to buy, right? He pulled out his phone. He did a Google search for mobile windshield repair, and he chose one of the businesses that came up there. Now, he didn't choose the first result. He chose maybe the second or third result. And the reason that he did that was because he had been exposed to this brand's messaging before he needed them. And it was a Safelite was the company. So he had heard the jingle so many times over the years. He didn't need their services in that moment. But in the moment when he did need their services, he went with them And that was why, because he recognized their brand, he trusted their brand, he had seen them, and he knew that that's who he wanted to do business with when he needed it. So now, taking a look at customer behavior and how it's changing during the pandemic. So you can look at Google Trends, you can look at social media, you can do surveys, you can use your own data from Google Analytics, for example. Now, there's also a tool that you guys can go use today. You guys can go to Google, do a search for rising retail category tool, and you can take a look and see on there, Google tracks what retail categories are growing, and that maybe be able to inform what you should do, inform your messaging and how you should change what you're doing, because the world continues to change at a very fast clip, right? Things have leveled out somewhat, but things are still changing so much, especially as we hear about the vaccines that may be rolling out soon. It's important to understand how that's affecting the way that people are doing searches. And this is an excellent tool that you guys can use to do that today. Totally free. Okay, so thinking about the ads funnel. Again, think about the example that I gave about my boss and his windshield being broken. So he was being hit over and over again in this awareness stage with the Serve Pro jingle. But then as he comes down into needing that service now, he needed to take an action right then. And so what happened in this part of the funnel informed what he did in the action phase. And that's what this is here. So you can see here that when somebody is in a low intent phase of the customer journey, they're in awareness and interest. It's just about creating general awareness of your brand for people who may have a need for your services in the future. This is done through things like the Google Display Network, which is banner ads on different websites. YouTube pre-roll. So when you watch a video on YouTube, the ad that plays before that video, for example. And interest and decision. These are people who are expressing some interest. They may be making a decision about where they're going to buy something or if they're going to buy something. And here's where you can use YouTube pre-roll fits into this as well. So does Gmail ads. So do Gmail ads, and these are ads that go into someone's inbox. Google Display Network through retargeting. Retargeting is, I'm sure you all have experienced it. You go to a website, and when you leave that website, you start seeing ads for that website to get you back to them. And there's a number of ways we're going to talk a little bit about what the strategy would be and why you would do it certain ways. And the decision and action, really, this is high intent. These are people who have decided they're going to buy, and they're going to go do it. They're ready to go. They've made the decision. They're going to go onto Google, and they're going to take an action there to purchase. And this is where paid search really comes in. And this is the ads that come up on the search engine results page. You can also achieve this through retargeting, bringing somebody back to your website to make that final purchase. So these are the different phases of intent. And it's important to think about what you're doing to hit every part of the customer journey, so that when you do have somebody in the high intent phase, that they have been informed by your message and awareness and interest phase, and the interest and decision phase makes it far more likely that they're going to do business with you when it comes down to it. So taking a look at the low intent. So no intent to low intent is kind of the way to think about it. These are people who are online, they're reading content on different websites. They're not looking for you. They're not looking for what you sell or your services or for your name. They are not aware of you or what you do at all. So at this stage, what you're doing is just reaching to those people who don't have any awareness of what you do. You're filling the top of the sales funnel. You're creating the market. You're creating the awareness of people who know who you are. So further down the line, when they may need your services, they're going to be a little bit more aware of you. Now, you can also target audiences in this phase, so that you're not just throwing out a super wide net. You're being a little bit more targeted, and you can say, I only want to reach people who fit certain demographic criteria or who are showing certain behaviors. And that's still a way of reaching people in that awareness phase, but maybe with a little bit more efficiency. And you can do all this through Google Display Network, through YouTube pre-roll, through Gmail ads. There's a few different ways you can do it. So how are you going to put together your targeting for this, right? There's a few different ways you can do it. So audience-based. Now we have on here a number of different targets, right? A number of different ways that you can target. The ones that you see that are kind of bolded, these are the ones that we're suggesting for the awareness and interest phase. So in this phase, the audience-based targeting you're going to do is affinity targeting. Find people based on what they're passionate about. So you can see what they're researching, what kind of content that they're reading. You can target people based on life events. So people in the midst of life milestones, recently married, recently had children, that kind of thing. Demographics, target people based on lifelong facts. Now this could be ethnicity. It could be, or although that, depending on what you're doing, that can be tough to use. But you can do things like household income. You can do whether they own a home. There's all kinds of different targets. It's basically unlimited the way that you can target. It's just a matter of finding what that is and seeing what makes sense for you. Context-based topics. So bundles of inventory with a theme. This could be, for example, entertainment. If you want to reach people who are consuming entertainment content, now that could be all kinds of different things. And so what you're doing is you're taking a look at ad inventory that hits people who are reading that kind of content. And so it's broad, but a little bit more targeted than just any website. And then keywords, target based on keywords users are searching for in queries. So when they're doing Google searches on Google, Google can see that and then hit them with display ads or YouTube ads later on. All right, so reaching your audience through GDN. So GDN, again, is Google Display Network. These are the banner ads that you see on different websites as you're navigating around, whether it be on, you could be on ESPN, you could be on CNN, you could be on Fox News, wherever you happen to consume your content to read news, articles, blogs, all that kind of thing, GDN can reach you there. And so kind of the way to think about it is it's a way to promote your brand, promote your products across 2 million websites, right? I mean, it's reaching people, not necessarily like, you can go to CNN, for example, like here at CNN Entertainment, and say, I want to buy ads on CNN. And that's fine, you can do that. What this is saying, I want to reach a certain type of person who lives in a certain area, fits certain criteria that I want to target. And whether they're on CNN or Fox News or ESPN or USA Today or wherever it is that they happen to be on, you're gonna be able to show your message to that person wherever they happen to be. This is auction based. This is one of the great benefits of Google Display Network. So you only pay for clicks. You only pay when somebody clicks on the ad. So all the impressions that you get, an impression, this right here, this is an impression for Adobe. Somebody saw that ad, that's one impression. Every impression that you get is basically free unless somebody clicks on the ad. When somebody clicks on the ad, then you pay. So it's very, very cost effective because of that. It's a lower cost per click than doing paid search. So when somebody does a search for, let's say they're looking for stock images on Google and the Adobe ad comes up, that's a high cost per click because that's a high intent. That's somebody who's looking to purchase probably. And so that makes it a higher cost per click than something like this, which is an awareness tool. So Adobe gets the benefit of having a low cost per click and of getting these impressions out in front of thousands and thousands of people who never clicked, but now know that Adobe offers stock images. You can use placement exclusions to protect your brand's image. So you can say, I don't want my ad to run on certain types of websites or on certain websites. And you can set that up just to make sure that you're not appearing anywhere that would be objectionable to you or your brand. You can create your own ads and upload them, or Google has an automated responsive ad platform that creates the ads for you based on your website. It's very, very intuitive. It's very easy to do. Google just sets you up, and it's pretty simple. So you can do it either way, and that's one of the benefits of using the Google Display Network as well. All right. So for YouTube ads are a little bit different. So these are the ads that run before a video that you may watch, or they may also run up here. You see the up next on the side rail here on YouTube when you're looking at videos. There's usually an ad up here at the top. There are also ads here that come up as you're watching videos that would come up here. So there's a few different ways that you can run ads on YouTube. And this is a really, really good way to reach people in that awareness phase, but also in the interest phase. If you think about, I did a search recently for to see if I may be able to patch a tire on my own car, for example. And when I was doing that, I was looking up videos on how to do that. And before those videos started, I would see ads for tire patching kits. And that's an extremely relevant ad for me. So this is an example of something that you can do. It's something that I may have wanted to purchase in that moment because of what I was searching for. So, but there's a number of ways that you can do it. You can do a traditional TV ad, which would be just like this pre-roll ad, but you can do all these different types of things as well. There are multiple ad formats. You can skip them. They're the ones that say, after 5 seconds, you can skip it here, or you can make somebody watch the whole thing. There's a number of different ways you can do it. And so it can be very effective if you have good quality video. That's another thing. You want to have a good quality video, something that looks good. And by good quality video, I don't mean that it has to be done by a professional video editing company. It can be as simple as a good video done with an iPhone. Those have worked really well in the past, and I think it could work for you too. It's just a matter of making sure that the content is good. Okay. Gmail ads. Now, Gmail ads are a different beast entirely, right? So these are ads. If you look in your Gmail, you may see them up here. They have the little ad icon next to them. And so these would show up in your promotions and social tabs in your Gmail inbox. And these are really interesting. This is a really interesting ad format because you can save these, you can forward them. If I see an ad on a website, I could take a screenshot and send it to my wife, for example, but I probably won't. But in the Gmail inbox, I actually can open this. I can look at the email and I can forward it over to somebody if I think it makes sense to do so. Google optimizes the ads to look good, no matter what device is being used. This is something that Google does for you. It's automated. You can do things like dedicated mobile options like app download and click to call functions. There's a few different things that you could do. So if you are looking at the message on your phone, there could be a click to call and you can call right then. If you're looking at it on your desktop, that won't be on there because you can't call from your desktop. And it can be stored in an inbox until user is ready to take an action. So it just sits there until somebody deletes it, right? And so it has the possibility of being seen multiple times. So these are all ways of reaching people kind of in the awareness and interest phase. I just kind of want to repeat that here because this is a tactic that you can use in that phase, and we can talk a little bit later about how it fits into other sections as well. But right now, that's what we're looking at. Okay, so 3 things to consider before launching your display campaign. And you always want to be set up properly beforehand, right? So when you're looking at how you're going to launch your campaign, number 1, devices. What devices do you want these ads to appear on, and what devices will they be appearing on? Does it make sense to run ads on all devices? Like the example that we give here is if you're trying to get people to download a phone app, you probably shouldn't run them on desktops, right? You should focus mainly on mobile devices because you can't download the app from your desktop. I did a campaign like this recently for an app here in the Houston area. We had a lot of success, and it was focused on those mobile phones, and was very successful. Locations. Does your budget make sense for your geographical target? What we're talking about here is if you want to reach Houston, Houston is a massive, massive city with millions of people, and it is a very, very competitive market. So you need to look at your budget and see if it makes sense. If you're going to want to reach all of Houston, you need to allocate the budget towards that. Otherwise, should I just do my neighborhood? Should I just run in the East End, for example? Should I run in targeted neighborhoods where I know people are coming to my website? This is something you can get from your Google Analytics account, being able to see where people are finding you, and be able to tailor your message to that. So you want to make sure that you're doing that with intent, that you're being smart about it, and making sure that your dollars are being spent wisely. Exclusions. You want to protect your brand by excluding sites or channels with sensitive content, park domains, profane language, all that kind of stuff. Just basically anything objectionable. You don't want your website, your ad to appear on there. So you only want to run on reputable websites with good content, good traffic, and try to get traffic over to your website from those. That's really the main thing here. So you want to think about all three of these things before you start. And if you do that, you're well set up to have success in your campaign. Moving on to medium intent. All right, so in the medium intent phase, these are people who are actively engaging in searches and viewing content that indicates they may need a product or service. So they're out of the awareness stage. At this point, they're kind of interested in seeing if they should buy it or if they want to buy it. Now, at this stage, you want to reach users who have shown an interest in a specific product or service through their online behavior. So you can retarget them. Again, retargeting is really, really valuable. Retarget them on the display network with banner, video, and Gmail ads to people who have previously visited your site. So if you've gotten somebody over to your site, you want them to come back, and you can get them to come back a few different ways. So what are the segments that you want to target in this phase? There's in-market, those who are searching for what you offer right now. Retargeting, people who have already been to your website, you want to reach them. And then context-based, targeted exclude specific sites or apps. So this is kind of the framework of what you're working with here to do a good campaign, to get people to move down to that decision phase and that action phase to where they're buying from you. So retargeting, we talked about retargeting a little bit before, but let's dive in a little bit deeper. So retargeting works like this. The user sees your ad, they click on it, they go to your website. They leave your website without doing anything. They didn't fill out a form, they didn't call you, they didn't buy anything, whatever it is, whatever criteria that you have set up, but they leave the website without converting with whatever metric that you have determined is the metric that you want to track. A cookie is stored with that user on their browser. The user browses internet on other websites, and they start seeing your ad, and that ad can be tailored to what they originally clicked on. The user comes back to your website, fills out a form, buys, whatever it may be. They do whatever you were looking for them to do. This is a really, really effective tactic. Now, I often talk to clients or prospects who when they hear about this, they're like, but that's so annoying. And, on a personal level, I agree. Like, to me, it can be off-putting sometimes. That is true. The fact is, though, that it is one of the most effective ways of getting people to purchase from you. And I can tell you, as somebody who does think, oh, it's a little off-putting for me personally as a human being, I still have purchased because I've been retargeted. So it does work, right? And that's something that you want to consider. You want to weigh the benefits versus the cons. But the benefits in this case far outweigh any detractions from this. So successful retargeting campaign tactics would include things like, you want to target the most engaged visitors. So somebody who, for example, if you sell things on your website, they put things in their cart and then they didn't buy. That's somebody that you want to get back to your website immediately. You want them to buy, right? So that's somebody that you want to target. Or if they viewed priority pages of your site, so you don't sell anything on your site, but they went and looked on the location pages of your website, or they looked at the service page of your website. You want to get them back. You can upload a list of customer emails to remarket to and push them down that customer journey, right? So this is another way that you can use your own data in order to grow your business. Custom tailor ads to your audience. So you can see which ads are being visited with the tracking pixel. And then you want to serve relevant ads to the people who went to your website based on what they did on your website. Again, if they went to your services pages and say you have 3 services, let's say you're a remodeler and they have you know, a kitchen remodel page, a bathroom remodel page, and a general remodeling page, let's just say. And somebody was looking at the bathroom remodeling page, and that's where they spent their time, and that's what they were looking at. You're going to want to serve them an ad that's about bathroom remodeling. And that's an example of how you would do something like this: custom tailor ads to your audience, give them what they were looking for. And again, leverage Google Analytics. In analytics, there's so much information. So again, I've mentioned it before, but if you have a website and you don't have analytics set up, go do it today. It's free. It's something that Google offers. It's simple to do. It's a line of code that you place on your site, and then it's connected, and Google will start tracking all kinds of information. And you'll be able to find information on there about who's visiting your website, what type of person is visiting your website, what they're doing, and then you can create custom lists based on that information. But there's so much information in there that you can use. Avoid user fatigue. You want to use day parting, meaning you want to run ads between certain times. So you don't want to run ads, for example, after 7 p.m. Or something along those lines when there are not that many people. So you can use day parting, frequency caps. You don't want to hit somebody over and over and over and over again. You want to be tactical about how many times you're going to be getting in front of these people. I've been targeted with campaigns where I see the ads on every single website I go to. That's not good, right? That's not something that you want to see. That is too much. That's why retargeting has a bad rap, because a lot of people do this, and it's not effective. It's effective to do it with respect for your audience and doing it a certain amount of times, and hitting them enough to where you're in their head, but you're not beating them over the head. Going back to what I was saying before, the benefits will outweigh the costs. It will lead to higher click-through rates. More people clicked on the ads. Your cost per click will go down often, right? This is what we see over and over again. Now, again, you have to be running these campaigns the right way, but this is what we see. So it's precise, you get better engagement, and you increase conversions, which is, again, this is the be-all end-all, right? You want people to come to your website and convert, whether that's buying something from you, calling you, filling out a form, becoming a lead, whatever it is. You want them to come to your website and do what you want them to do, and retargeting is one of the best ways to do that. So moving into high intent. So now we're talking about people who are actively searching to buy, right? They want to buy your product, they want to buy your service, whatever it is. They want to convert. They will probably convert immediately or this week, very, very soon. They're making decisions on where to purchase their product or service. So this is when I often see that when people dive into Google Ads or start trying it out, they really just focus on this. And that makes sense, right? If that's the intuitive way to, like, okay, well, that's what I'm going to do. It really works best when you put some budget into every part of this process. Now, not to say that you can't just do a decision and action campaign. You can, but it will work better if you pay attention to these other parts. And that I can tell you from experience. So think about this as the final pitch, right? This is when you want to show why they should use you versus your competitors. And so you're going to want to do a number of things, and think about the benefits of doing this kind of ad. So you have full control over the keywords, the budget pacing, an ability to make nimble adjustments, and you want to be able to use all of this all the time. This is what makes Google Ads so hard. Think about what I said before. Google makes money when you click on this ad. So Google wants to put this up first, right? Now, just because Google makes money doesn't mean that you make money. So Google is going to make it as easy as possible to click. What makes it hard, and what for you guys and for everybody who does Google Ads, is that you need to stay on top of these campaigns and make changes all the time. It's a full-time job, right? This is something that you're going to need to spend a lot of time with and make adjustments on an ongoing basis. You're going to take a look at budgets, move them around, figure out exactly what you're going to do. And that's the benefit of using a company like ours, because we're able to do that. We're a Google Premier partner. We're able to help you with these things and make those changes on your behalf in order to lower your cost per click and to increase the leads that you get as a result of these campaigns. You want to leverage automation and machine learning to make sure your campaigns are performing as well as possible. There's a method, for example, to using automation and a human touch to optimize your campaigns towards cost per lead, right? So rather than cost per click. And these are two different ways of doing it. When you're looking at cost per lead, you can get really, really efficient. So RSLAs is another thing you want to look at, remarketing lists for ads. You want to target people who visit your site and who are actively searching Google. And there's a few ways to do this. So the last thing to think about here, search ads are unobtrusive. If you think about retargeting and the kind of the thinking that I had mentioned before about how some people are like, oh, it's annoying, right? Totally understandable reaction. With Google ads, it's not annoying. I mean, you're giving somebody what they were looking for, right? And so you're not going to them and saying, hey, do you want this? You're saying, hey, I saw that you want this, here it is. Now, it's up to you to make sure that it's as attractive as possible and that it will work, right? And this is a great example here of Adobe using multiple links for different things, making sure that they're giving as much information as possible to try to drive that click and drive that conversion. All right. So using Google Analytics, you can see, well, we mentioned this a little bit before, but just to kind of dive in a little bit more, you can see location data of where people are visiting your website from, what kind of devices that they're using, how many pages they're visiting on your site, how long they're spending on your site. There's a lot of information in there, and this will give you information. This will give you data that you can use to understand how you're going to change your campaign so that it performs best. And it behooves you to look in your analytics to understand this information and make changes on an ongoing basis. More visibility. This increases your brand visibility to the most qualified audience, right? Especially if you're not ranking organically. You know, we talked last time about organic SEO, search engine optimization for your website to come up in a Google search. Well, if you're not ranking on organic, if you're working on it, you're trying to get there, Google Ads is a good way of ranking right away. You're going to come up on the search engine results page if you do things right. Now, that's not to say that you turn on your budget and all of a sudden you're number one. That's not the way it works. But it is a way for you to start showing up in searches right away. So you can, even if you are ranking organically, you can use this Google Ads to target keywords that you don't currently rank for and start ranking for those through Google Ads. And then at that point, you can start working on your organic SEO to also come up organically. Increase conversions. So when you paid attention to the prospecting, retargeting, being present when somebody's in the awareness stage and the interest stage, then at that point, showing up in that bottom funnel in the decision phase, they're actively searching for what you do. Now you're at that point, the story of the windshield being broken. You know, my boss came out of his home, saw the windshield was broken. He was immediately there. He purchased based on what had happened in those previous phases. I know that we've all experienced this before. This is something that I've experienced many, many times, and I know that many people on this webinar have as well. And it's the way that things work. And if you know that, and you keep it in mind when you're building your campaigns, you can have much more successful campaigns. Okay, so the formula in action. So this is taking a look at how everything comes together. Now we're looking at this Adobe ad again, all right? So in the awareness and interest phase, they prospected on CNN. So somebody was on CNN.com, they may see the ad, they may click on it. They went to the Adobe landing page and they left that page without converting. They didn't buy, they didn't do anything there that Adobe wanted them to do. So at that point, Adobe retargets them with banner ads on other websites that they're on. Could be on CNN again, it could be on another website. And so they see the ad again. They can also have ads sent to their Gmail based on the fact that this person visited their website. You can send them ads to their Gmail as well. This person then at this point may do a search for stock images. This is something that I've done many times. I see ads. I don't recall the actual name of the ads that I'm seeing, but it's something that was in my head. And at a later date, I go and do a Google search. And this is an example that you see here. They did a search for stock images instead of Adobe stock images. They see the Adobe ad, they recognize the brand, they know that they saw it, they return to the landing page to make a purchase. So another story here that may be relevant, and I know we're running low on time, so I'll keep it short, but there was a surgeon that we worked for that does a very specific type of surgery, and they were doing TV ads. And they would do TV ads and they get about 3 leads per week, and we weren't really sure why. We're able to show them very, very quickly that what was going on is that people were not remembering their name. They're remembering the name of the procedure because it's something that resonated with the viewer, like, oh yeah, that's something that I need. They would then do a Google search for that procedure and do business with one of their competitors who was coming up on Google Ads and organically. Once we turned on a Google Ads campaign, when they did TV ads, they started getting about 20 to 25 leads per week. Simply because all those people who had been doing that Google search and going to a different surgeon were now seeing their ads as well and converting at that point. So this is an example here of what we're talking about. Final thing is the landing page optimization. So again, if you have a great Google ad campaign and everything looks really good and it's very enticing, somebody clicks on it and they go to your landing page and it is slow, it doesn't have the information that person was looking for, it doesn't, the form doesn't work, any number of different things that could be going on will not benefit you. All you'll get is traffic, but what you want is leads. So you want to have a good landing page, and right here we have kind of an overview of what a good landing page looks like. So you want everything that's the most important to be above the fold. The form, all the main information, all should be above the fold, meaning people shouldn't have to scroll down to find it. The form, you only want to have a few fields. If you're asking for a bunch of information, it'll seem like a chore, people will abandon. If you only have 2, 3, maybe 4, that's much more likely to convert. Somebody just puts in their name and their email address, then you can start emailing them. That's a better form than asking them 20 questions because they're not going to fill it out. Your offer should be clear, should be easy to understand and easy to execute, right? So limited time offers at this time now, just kind of avoid that for the time being, because you really want to be able to have that community feeling behind it as well. The button text, start here, I'm interested, creates a more personalized approach than learn more or buy now, right? So think about what you want that text to look like when somebody clicks on it. It should be something a little bit more personable. Click to call on social profiles. You want to give your customers as many ways to get to know your brand or connect as possible. And so you want to add on here any links to your social media channels or being able to click to call, and you can see that right here. So that's a good format for a landing page to convert well. All right, key takeaways. You want to find those low intent audiences, drive traffic using GDN to create that awareness. It's a very low cost per click, and you can reach people across multiple platforms, multiple devices. Reach out to your medium intent audience by retargeting customers who show that interest in your products and services. And then run a paid search campaign at the bottom to capture those that are really, really ready at this point. That being said, your landing page has to be set up properly, and that was the last thing that we look at. It's very simple to follow the proper structure for a landing page. Putting it together is a little bit harder, but the structure itself is right there, right? So that's something that you can do, is take a look at that structure and see how you can set up your landing page for the best conversion. And that's all I have. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to talk. I know we're low on time, however.
Thank you so much, Juan. That was so great information. I know everybody loves, and this is our third installment. We're going to have to create something new so we can do something in the 2021, because you're a wealth of knowledge and you're an East End resident. So it's a great combination. So thank you for that. but I got a lot of questions here, so I want to get to them as quick as possible. One is, can you give some cost for each of these ads that you're describing today?
Well, so it's everything would be a cost per click, and that depends on a number of factors, right? The cost per click, I've seen cost per clicks anywhere from 11 cents to $400, right? So, for example, if you're a lawyer, you're going to have to expect that when somebody clicks on your ad, it's probably going to be a couple $100 on average. Whereas if you're, selling, I've seen, for example, a comic book store, they did a campaign and they had clicks that were like 10 cents, 15 cents, 20 cents, a dollar, right? And everything in between. Normally you would expect, I would say, kind of what you would expect to see is somewhere between 10 and $30 per click. That's pretty common, depending on your industry. So every industry is different. Also, how deep within the market you want to get, because again, it's all cost per click based. The more impressions that you get, the more clicks that you're going to get. So you want to be sure that you do a review of what the inventory out there looks like, and that's something that I can help you with. Like if you're looking at, I want to find out how much should I spend over the next month, 2 months, whatever it may be, to reach my target audience. We would have to do an analysis using Google tools to see, okay, well, how many people are searching? What can we expect over the next few months? And then be able to make a determination of, okay, this is how many people we should expect to be able to reach. This is what the cost per click on average will probably be. And then you can plan from there.
Great. And then
So,
again, you said that's something you can help them with. So can you
yes.
reiterate your email address one more time?
Yeah, so it's my name, Juan.Rojas@HoustonPress.com.
Great. Hopefully everyone's gotten that. And then another great question here is there a benefit for a small business owner to try to execute Google ad on their own?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that it would be to try to do it on your own is fine. Just keep in mind that it is, if you want to do it right, it is a full-time job. Like this is, and if you're a small business owner, you are already running the business. You're probably doing every part of the business, so keep that in mind. It takes up a lot of time. And one of the things about Google, again, is that Google wants your ads to appear as often as possible and make it as easy to click as possible, because when somebody clicks, you pay, right? So you want to make sure that you set up your campaign to where when somebody clicks and you pay, that you get something from it, that it made sense for that to happen. Because honestly, to Google, they don't care if it works or not, right?
Mhm.
They only want that click. But with a company like ours, the reason that companies like ours exist, the Google Premium Partners out there, is because we work within the framework that Google has given us to make sure that campaigns work really well. Because again, Google does. I say Google doesn't care. They do care, because if the campaign works, you'll do it forever, and that's why they like companies like ours, because we help our clients to have good campaigns to continue running over the long term.
Great. Now you mentioned it is a full-time job, but it does have a good return on investment if you do it right,
If you do it
to
right.
bring in new customers. So what is a good starting budget for anyone interested in doing this on their own before they hire a firm like yourself or hire you?
Yeah, again, it comes back to what I was saying before. It really depends. It's hard to say. It depends on what your industry is, how competitive your market is, what the average cost per click, how many people are doing searches, what the search volume is. There's all number of reasons, of factors that play into this. So that's kind of hard to say. Again, this is something that I can assist with. I can help you with that and show you a range of what would make sense, but that's not something that I could give a blanket statement like, oh, this is how much it would cost, because it's impossible to say.
True. And then, so other than this tutorial that we're giving, are there other tutorials that you offer? Is there other best ways for business owners to learn how to do this on their own? Just contact you, or what would you recommend?
Yeah, I mean, contact me, and I'm happy to have a conversation with anybody, to talk to you about how some of this stuff works and some actions you can take. I've mentioned before on our previous webinar, the website search engine land. If you want to take the time to educate yourself and try to become an expert on some of this stuff, that's a great resource. So that might be a good start.
Good, 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 good. And so someone has a website. Do they still need a landing page? If yes, why?
So yeah, the landing page ideally would live on your website. So it would be a landing page that is part of your website where you can set it up to where either people can navigate to it, like if they go to your homepage, they can navigate to it from there, or you can set it up to where it's hidden and it can only be accessed through ads, and that way you can kind of control it.
Good.
But ideally, you would want it to live on your website. You don't have to do it that way, but ideally, that's the best way.
Great. Here's an interesting one. What did GDN stand for?
Google Display Network. So those are the banner ads that you see. Like if you're on CNN.com and you see at the top there's an ad, and on the side rail there's an ad, and as you're scrolling down you see other ads. Those are display ads, and there are multiple networks out there. There's lots of different networks. Google Display Network is just one of them, but it's a very nimble platform that you can use for this kind of thing.
Wonderful. Another one that goes back to the landing page. Do they need to buy another domain name for their landing page?
Not if it lives on your website. If it lives on your website, then it would just be, your website.com / whatever you want it to be. So you wouldn't need another domain name. Now, there are reasons why you may want to set up a specific landing page that's not connected to your website. And in that case, you probably would want to have the entity URL. So you would want to buy a domain name, but you don't have to. And there are reasons why you would want to do that. More often than not, it's best for it to be on your website.
Great. And Frank has a question here. It says he's having trouble with his landing page. Google apparently froze his merchant account. And is this something that you can maybe take a look at his homepage and see? He sells LED mirrors. And I've got his website here, lightvisionmirrors.com. Could that be something we could do?
Absolutely. Reach out to me after the webinar. My email address again is juan.rojas@houstonpress.com. And reach out to me. I'm happy to take a look at it, go through it, and see if we may be able to find some reasons why Google may have taken any actions.
Great. Well, we love these member connections. And Frank, make sure that you reach out to Juan after this. This could be something really good. And we're thankful to have you as a wealth of knowledge here. Is there anything else that we missed or during these questions that has come up that you wanted to reiterate to those who are watching?
Just that, one of the things that I hear often when I have these conversations with clients and prospects is, just tell me how I get onto Google. How do I get on page one? And that's such a loaded question. Right? The answer is it depends. It depends. Do you want to come up your location on Google? Do you want to come up for your website organically? Do you want to just drive ads? All three of those things have their own benefits. They all three have their own different approaches. And it depends, again, that word, it depends, it's something I say all the time on all kinds of different things, right? So it's really a matter of finding out, not so much, well, how do I get on page one? It's what do I want Google to do for me? What do I want the outcome of this campaign to be? And when you answer that question, then we can say, okay, well, this is how you would be able to do that. The answer may be not necessarily that you come up on page one for everything that you do all the time. It may be that you want to come up on page one on Google Ads and on organic for a couple of key things. And then we can start working on other keywords. So it really depends on all kinds of different things. It's a hard question to answer.
Well, that's a little bit over my head, and that's why it's so important to get an expert like yourself on your side and invest that time and revenue, because it's going to come back to you when you do it right, and then you'll learn how to do it. And it is a full-time job. I can see it myself. Every time I look for something pops up and I just wonder how and why. But now during COVID, if we have some extra time, those are the times that we need to spend to put this plan together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Juan, for joining us again. We're going to have to get together so we can see what we can bring to everybody in 2021. Have a wonderful rest of the month, December, and we hope that you and your family have a great holiday season.
Thanks, and everybody else on this line as well.
Bye-bye. Thank you.